So today we're doing lesson 5.8, which is, as I said to you before, really a continuation of 5.7. And the way I teach 5.7 leads directly into 5.8 now. If you recall, the verbiage I used from lesson 5.8 was factors of C whose sum is B. Okay? Let's write it again. Factors of C whose sum is B. I'm recognizing that the letters A, B, and C simply represent a location within the trinomial. Okay. This is the kind of simple representation of a trinomial. In everything we've been doing up to this point, A's value has been a 1, okay? And that's going to continue today. So if you notice, the book represents it as x squared plus bx plus c, again, okay? So what we're doing today, and when they say that, they're just saying x squared added to whatever bx is, added to whatever c is. So depending upon what you have, you're going to think of this a little bit differently. I'm going to go over several examples with you and try and make this nice and clear. So I'm going to start with my examples. They are not going to be the ones in the book. You can certainly look back on those and use those as well. So something that's really similar to example 1. Okay, this is my version of example 1. We're going to do x squared minus 14x minus 32. Factors of C whose sum is B. Now here's where it gets tricky. In order to create a negative, I have to have a positive and a negative factor, right? Positive times a negative will give us a negative. So let's list all the factors. 1 and 32, 2 and 16, 3, 4 and 8, 5, 6. In any case, I think we've got all we need. I'm not sure if you focused in on this, but remember, one has to be positive, one has to be negative. So let's just assume I say these are all negative, these are all positive. Okay? With that, the sum will be positive 33. With this, it would be a positive 14. And with this, it would be a positive 4. Okay? Not quite what we wanted. But if I flip it around and I make this side the positive and this side the negative and retest, I think I'm going to have what I need. Negative, positive. That should be a, wait, I have this wrong. That was a 32, 31. Sorry, guys. So negative, positive. So this is a negative 31. The sum here is a negative 14. And the sum over here is a negative 4. Okay? Factors that create the C that when added together equal B. It looks to me like positive 2 and negative 16 are going to be a good fit. Positive 2, oops, and negative 16. X, X. Okay? I have determined that positive 2 and negative 16, when multiplied, do give me 32. When added together, do give me negative 14. Okay? So whatever is sitting here in the A position, if it's a square, square root, square root. Okay? But just like the previous lessons, I had you guys identify what you picked, and then we're going to FOIL it, okay, just to test it. X squared minus 16x plus 2x minus 32. Combine like terms, and we have hit the jackpot. Okay? Same exact stuff over and over, only unlike 5, 7, where you either had a negative, negative, or a positive, positive, today's lesson is teaching you to recognize that you can create a negative C by using a positive, negative, and somehow come up with the sum for the value of B, depending upon what they wanted. Now, if they wanted a positive here, you would have then given me positive 16 and negative 2, okay? If they wanted a positive here, okay? Let's keep going. Let's go ahead, and we're still in lesson 5.8, page 217. Let's do another one. What if I have a positive, then a negative? So here, let me give you this. I'm going to flip the page real quick. So this is going to be similar to their example 2. Okay, this is going to be similar to the book's example 2. P squared plus 1p. There's no coefficient. Therefore, the coefficient is a 1 minus 12. Factors of C whose sum is B. Right? Same old, Mrs. Myers. Okay, let's list our factors that'll create 12. And I'm not even going to assign positive and negative to it. 1 and 12. 2 and 6. 3 and 4. Okay? And I'm going to do it differently so I don't make the same mistake. If this is positive, this is negative. Positive, negative. Positive, negative. Okay? All of those scenarios will create a negative 12, but which one will give me a positive 1 when they're added together? Okay, which one of these will give me a positive 1? Well, these two added together give me a negative 11. These two added together give me a negative 4. Those two added together give me a negative 1. Looks close there on that bottom one. Let's flip it around. Negative, positive. Negative, positive. Negative, positive. Okay. Now, instead of a negative 11, in the red scenario, I have a positive 11. Instead of a negative 4, the sum is a positive 4. Instead of a negative 1, the red scenario gives us a positive 1. So it is the red scenario that wins with the 3 and 4. Okay? Negative 3, positive 4. Because the result then of the sum of those two factors will give us a 1 as the coefficient for P. Okay? Square root of the P goes in the first positions. Let's FOIL it to test it. P squared first. Outside, negative 3P. Inside, positive 4P. Last, negative 12. Combine like terms, P squared plus 1P minus 12. Had I chosen the positive negative 3, 4 route, the coefficient would have been a negative P, and that is not what we were looking for. Okay, so it's always critical that you FOIL these to assure that you've done it correctly. Okay, if you don't FOIL them, then you're going to have an issue. You'll just make mistakes. That's just the way it goes. So example 3, here's my example 3. This will look familiar. It'll match with example 3. Anyway, m squared minus 34mn minus 72n squared. Now I'm just going to show you something right off the bat so that you don't get baffled by this deal here. Okay? The square root of m goes in the first position. Okay? The square root of n is going to go in the last position, preceded by whatever factors of 72 we use that create 72, but then added together give me 34. Factors of 72 whose sum is, factors of negative 72 whose sum is a negative 34. So let's list our factors of 72. 1 and 72, 2 and 36, 3 and, what is it? It goes in that twice. 14, 4 goes into that once. Or did I make a mistake somewhere? 72 divided by 3. See, I'm doing this off the cuff here, guys. 2, how about 24? 4 and 18. 5, no. 6, yes. 72 by 6 is 112. Okay, 6 and 12. 7, no. 8 and 9. Okay, and we're done. Sorry, I ran out of room here. Lucky for us, the answer is closer to the top. So let's start with a negative scenario on that. Positives on the right. Sorry, I made a mess of this for you guys. The sum with a negative left and positive right is going to be a positive 71 or a positive 34. Oh, look, there's that 34. Unfortunately, it's positive. A positive 21, a positive 14, a positive 6, and a positive 1. Okay? None of these has a negative sum. But this one does have the number we need, just with the wrong sign, right? Well, that would mean if I reversed, I'm not going to test everything else, I'm going to test this, because the sum of 36 and 2 with the inverted sign is indeed that negative 34 that we needed. Okay? That's the negative 34. Okay? So plug in positive 2 and negative 34 in front of those n's. Remember I told you the n squared sit here waiting for their coefficient that created 72. And your m's, of course, don't have a coefficient, which is why it's just m times m. Okay? So, I wrote the wrong thing, guys. Good grief. Silly. Sorry. Negative 36, positive 2 will create the negative 34. Let's FOIL it. M squared minus 36mn, mn. O plus 2mn, last, negative 72n squared, negative 34mn is the result once you combine your O with your I. Does that match? Sure does. That's example 3. Now all of these are going to be require you to think in terms of a positive and negative factor because you are stuck with a C that has a negative value. Okay? When C has a negative value, the factors that create C have to have opposite signs, right? So look at this again. When C is negative, its factors must have opposite signs. Okay? No other way around it. Okay? In contrast, if C is positive, its factors must have the same signs, which is what you guys have already done up to this point in lesson 5.7. Okay? If you look at the oral exercises real quick, this is on page 218. Don't look at 1 through 10. But let's look at number 11. They're asking you in number 11, for each trinomial, tell which two factors of the constant, that's the C value, have a sum equal to the coefficient of the linear. Okay? Constant is the C value. Linear is the B value. I don't know if you remember that. It was taught way back when. But, so for the sake of oral number 11, Z squared plus 3z minus 4. Boy, it's nice when these are nice small numbers, right? Factors are 1 and 4 or 2 and 2. Somehow I need to create a negative in that position with a sum of positives. So I can either do a positive negative, which gives me a negative 3, or a no linear term. That would be a difference of squares. Okay? Or I can do a negative positive, which will still give me nothing here, because if it was z squared minus 4, without that, you'd have a difference of squares. Z plus 2z minus 2. Okay? That's not what we're looking for, though. We do have a linear term, and if I give you a positive 4 times a negative 1, I do get a negative 4. If I add a positive 4 with a negative 1, I do have a positive 3. They're asking you in this oral section which factors indeed do create this, and all they're asking for is the factors. So 4 and negative 1 is all they're looking for. I would know that that would mean my factor would be z plus 4, z minus 1. But the oral section isn't asking you that. They're just asking you which factors would create a product of negative 4 in the constant c position, and which would also create a linear coefficient of positive 3 in the b position. Okay? All right. So our homework assignment for today is 5.8, 1 through 23 odds, as you can see over there from the board. Now, what that means is, like Wednesday's assignment, you are going to do several things for me. Let's take this example. It's a little neater. What's the original problem? All the factors, both negatives on one and positives on the other, and then the reverse. Okay? Identify what you chose gave you the proper coefficient. So that's why I used two different colors. Okay, I would circle it. I don't care how you do it, but that's why I did it for you guys. Anyways, identify how you found the factors who had the negative 12 and the sum of positive 1. Show the factor, follow it, prove your answer is correct. Okay? Lucky for you, as you know, after you've done all this work, you can verify that you've done it correctly. However, if I do not see all this work, I will not be able to give credit, unfortunately, because that will lead me to believe that you didn't actually do it, which I know nobody in this class will do. So we're going to list the problem, list its factors, choose the one that fits, FOIL it, and verify it. Okay?